She knows it's there. She runs, skirting the barren bushes, weaving her way to the cellar door of the Grange. White and imposing, the colonnades rise in silent homage to the home's creator, Alexander Hamilton, a man of destiny who hoped save a nation, but who in the end couldn't save himself. The window she had left unlocked earlier in the day opens easily and without a sound. She climbs through the cellar window and into the basement, cringing at the thought the alarm could still be on. She pauses, nothing. Feeling for the banister, she creeps carefully up the stairs and into the parlor where the piano sits dark and somber. The original instrument owned by Alexander Hamilton, played with joy for many years by the Hamilton family, then with anguish by Alexander's daughter Angelica after the death of her brother, only to be left unused for over 200 years. Alexander, suffering the agony of watching his daughter play day after Philip's death, and sinking deeper into grief and despair, from which there was no return. She opens the lid. Heavy and old, the hinges crackle and complain as they come into service. Using her low-light penlight, she looks inside at the strings, but knows, even before she starts, that it won't be in there, nor in the bench, or between the keys, all of which would have been reconditioned through the years. She steps back and considers the inlay, running her fingers across the top, but there is nothing loose, no indentations, no seams to gently pry. The moon's cold light rearranges the shadows on the piano and on the floor, sending a thin triangle of light underneath and casting a tiny irregular shadow on a particular seam. She crawls underneath and feels its unevenness, ever so slightly misjoined. It seems to soften at her touch. As she pushes harder, the pressure opens a slight space in the seam just large enough for a fingernail. She gently pulls at it, and a drawer about the size of a matchbox slides open. A key with scroll work design stands out boldly in the silvery shadows. She thrusts it deep into her pocket and quickly closes the drawer, but not before hearing the slightest buzzing sound. Someone is there. She turns slowly, raising her penlight as her only defense, but there is no one. The buzzing stops. She sighs with relief. It was just her imagination. The slight buzzing started happening weeks ago when all this began. Now she knows that it was just a mind trick brought on by the anxiety of what those weeks had brought. But she is wrong. If she had taken off her glasses at that moment, she would have seen a tiny pinprick-sized video light on the front of the frames fading to black and turn off. She would have known that someone was watching. 3:15 a.m. Quickly retracing her steps through the house into the edge of the grounds, she pulls her coat tight against the frigid wind as she runs the 3 blocks to the subway. She is 8 minutes before the train arrives, and at this hour, it's her only chance. She races down the stairs and through the turnstile. She can see the train's lights in the distance. She's going to make it. With minutes to spare, she collapses onto the one lone bench on the platform, her breathing exploded in jagged bursts, sobbing, holding herself tight. But she is not alone. A man steps from the stairwell's shadow and stands close to her, too close. A second man comes down the far staircase and stops, blocking the steps. She is trapped. The men start to advance. She frantically scans the platform for an escape route. She jumps up and runs toward the far stairwell, hoping she can somehow get by the man at the end. But as she moves, he moves. He is fast and big and easily gaining on her. Glancing back the other way, she sees the first man approaching, closing the gap between them. The lights of the train are approaching rapidly. She can hear the whir of the wheels, see the rocking cars. The train is almost at the station. But one last glance tells her what she needs to know. It is too late. They will be on her before it arrives. In a split second, she knows what she has to do. She yanks her phone out of her coat, punches the last message sent, and with brutal focus texts, "Call Ralph," before throwing it and herself in front of the oncoming train.